NBA fans across the NBA world love big time trades, and with the NBA trade deadline just around the corner, here are 8 blockbuster trades coming soon. As of right now, OG Anunoby is on the trade block. I think he should be traded to the Suns. It would be the perfect fit for him. The Suns are in desperate need of another scorer. With the inconsistent output CP3 has been putting out towards scoring the ball and no one else really stepping it up, they need another scorer. That's where OG Anunoby comes in and helps the team out. OG is averaging an insane 20 points per game this season. He can score from anywhere on the court. Plus, he's a great defender, one of the best in the NBA. In this trade, the Phoenix Suns receive OG Anunoby, and the Toronto Raptors receive Jay Crowder, Dario Saric, and 2 to 3 first-round picks. If I'm the Toronto Raptors, I do this deal in the heartbeat. This would be a great win-win trade for both teams. The Toronto Raptors would start their rebuilding process around Scottie Barnes, and adding 3 unprotected first-round picks that have the potential to be really high would be a good trade for them. The Miami Heat need to make some trades. Right now, they're sitting at the 8th seed. A trade could go a long way for them. I think they should trade for Bojan Bogdanovic. He's been super good for the Pistons this season. This season, he's been shooting the ball at will, and he's also averaging an insane 20 points per game. The Heat could really use his versatility at the 4th position, which they've desperately needed since they lost PJ Tucker. The trade works like this. The Miami Heat get Bojan Bogdanovic, and the Pistons receive Duncan Robinson and a lottery-protected first-round pick. I think the Pistons could be the team to revive Duncan Robinson's career. He's been in such a rough shooting slump over the past year for the Heat, and if the Pistons could revive his career and maybe flip him down the line, that would go a big way. Plus, you're getting a first-round pick. This would be a win-win trade for both teams. This next trade is a little bit on the smaller side, but it's still pretty big. It's sending Jakab Poeltl to the Warriors for James Wiseman. The Warriors are getting a veteran setter who is an elite rim protector, and he can take off the defensive pressure from Draymond. He's also a decent passer. As for the Spurs, investing in James Wiseman could pay off big time. James Wiseman for the Warriors just has not looked good. He hasn't really been consistent at all, and he just doesn't fit in with the Warriors system. A trade like this could really save James Wiseman's career and maybe turn some heads, and people would hesitate to call him a bust. This next trade is a big one. This one is involving 3 teams. Those 3 teams being the New York Knicks, the Toronto Raptors, and Dallas Mavericks. In this trade, the New York Knicks get Gary Trent Jr., Davis Bertans, and 2 second-round picks. Adding an 18-point per game scorer and Gary Trent to the starting lineup would be huge for the Knicks. He's also a pretty solid defender. He would be a perfect player for Tibbs because he's already used to playing 40 minutes a game for the Toronto Raptors. As for the Dallas Mavericks, they would be receiving Evan Fournier, who's just a much better player than Davis Bertans. Davis Bertans is unplayable at this point. He can't shoot the ball anymore, and his contract is god-awful. I really would like to see Evan Fournier on a new team and maybe get some more opportunity. Now, the Toronto Raptors are getting pretty solid package for Gary Trent Jr. The Raptors would receive Cam Reddish, Obi Toppin, and a first-round pick. I feel like those 2 guys would be perfect project players for the Raptors. The Raptors are one of the best development staffs in the NBA. They have turned many careers around, and I think Cam Reddish and Obi have an insane high potential still that hasn't been unlocked yet. And if one team could do it, it would be the Toronto Raptors. The Charlotte Hornets have not been good at all this season, and it's time to blow it up. They have been one of the worst teams in the NBA. The first thing I think they should do is trade Terry Rozier. Terry Rozier is a good, solid player. At times he is a shot chucker, but he can score the ball. I think they should trade him to the Milwaukee Bucks for Joe Ingles, Grayson Allen, Jordan Nora, and a first-round pick. This would be a good enough package to get Terry Rozier off their team, who is on a pretty large contract, and I feel like teams would want him, but not at the price that they're paying him. As for the Charlotte Hornets, they do get a couple veterans that I think wouldn't stay too long on the roster, and they would flip them down the line for either more young players or a couple first-round picks. The Philadelphia 76ers could use a backup big, and I know they have Montrezl Harrell, who has been playing good for them as of late, but we have seen in years past in the playoffs that Montrezl Harrell can be unplayable at times. Remember in the bubble when the Clippers were going against the Denver Nuggets and they blew that 3-1 lead? Well, Montrezl Harrell was guarding guys like Nikola Jokic, and Nikola Jokic completely raw-dogged them. I mean, he bummed on Montrezl Harrell, and Montrezl Harrell was absolutely doing nothing but cardio out there. That's why the Philadelphia 76ers need a backup big. But the big I think they should trade for is Richaun Holmes. Richaun Holmes is a very solid backup center who isn't being utilized for the Sacramento Kings, so I think a trade there is definitely going to happen. The trade works like this. The Sixers get Richaun Holmes and are giving up Matisse Thybulle and Furkan Korkmaz. This gives the Kings a nice young wing that can be crucial in close game scenarios. Next trade is involving two teams, and those two teams being the LA Lakers and Charlotte Hornets. I think the LA Lakers should try to trade for Kelly Oubre. Besides being so handsome, he's also a great three-point shooter that the Lakers could really use in their starting lineup. The trade works like this. The Lakers receive Kelly Oubre and in return are giving up Patrick Beverley and 2 second-round picks. And you're probably saying, that's a huge underpay for Kelly Oubre. The Lakers should have to give up more, but Kelly Oubre's trade value is not as high as you think. Kelly Oubre has just suffered a big-time injury, taking him out for 6 weeks. And you're probably saying to yourself, oh, that's what tanked his value. No, that's not what tanked his value. What tanked his value is that he's on the last year of his deal. Teams do not like to trade for players that are on the last year of their deal because they could lose them in free agency next season. This last trade is doing with my favorite team, the Portland Trail Blazers. As of late, the Blazers have been caught slipping. A big reason why they've been caught slipping is because they have one of the worst benches in the NBA. That's why I think they should trade for a guy like Jared Vanderbilt. Jared Vanderbilt is a great defender and he would be the backup 5 for the Portland Trail Blazers. As for the Jazz, they would receive Keon Johnson, Greg Brown, and maybe a second-round pick to seal the deal. Keon Johnson's jumper has improved a lot since being on the Portland Trail Blazers, and he's a pretty decent defender.